Hello and welcome to our channel, Mentor Insight. This is the last and concluding part of our series on the 20 toxic phrases parents should never say to their children. Please watch part 1 and 2 after watching this video. The link to part 1 and 2 is in the video description or somewhere on the screen. Let's dive in. Let's take number 12. Don't be a baby. Don't be a baby. Sometimes we tell our children this. So this literally shames the child for natural emotional responses, possibly leading to shame about expressing any vulnerability. We all have our weak points, our weaknesses. We are all vulnerable to one thing or the other. So this phrase can stigmatize showing vulnerability, which is a natural human experience, forcing children to harden up prematurely. And that's not good. Number 13, I wish you were never born. When I was doing this research, some of these things felt strange to me. How can a parent possibly tell a child that they wish they were never born? So telling a child, I wish you were never born, is considered one of the most damaging things a parent can say to a child. It has severe psychological implications. It can cause emotional trauma. Such a statement can fundamentally make a child feel unwanted, unloved, with long-lasting impact on their mental health. It can be a deep traumatic experience for a child, potentially leading to emotional scarring and issues like anxiety, depression, or post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. It can also lead to attachment issues. Hearing a parent express regret over their existence can create profound attachment issues and a sense of insecurity in the parent-child relationship. It can lead to difficulties forming healthy bonds and relationships later in life. It can lead to low self-esteem. It can lead to abandonment fears. Such statements can trigger fears of abandonment or rejection in a child, as it implies they are not wanted or valued by their parents. It can also lead to identity issues. Expressing regrets over a child's existence can profoundly impact their sense of identity and belonging. It can make them question their place in the world and their right to exist. So, such statements can fundamentally make a child feel unwanted and unloved, with long lasting impacts on their mental health. And this is the view of Dr. Nancy Carlson, a psychiatrist. So, number 14, you are just like me. Sometimes, we tell our kids, oh, you're just like me. Well, we feel that this is complimentary, and in a sense it is, but it has its own psychological implication as well. So telling a child you're just like me can have several potential psychological implications, according to SPAC. For example, it can hinder the child's identity development. It's important for a child to develop their own self, their own sense of self, independent of their parents' self. Constantly comparing a child to the parent can prevent them from developing their own unique identity and individuality. It can also result in pressure and expectation. If the parent can, if the parent has positive traits, for example, it can create unrealistic expectation for the child to live up to those standards Conversely, if the parent has negative qualities, it can also be a burden to the child with the belief that they are destined to repeat their parents' pattern of failure. This can also lead to rebellion or resentment. Some children may rebel against being told they are just like a parent, leading to strained relationship, or a desire to distance themselves from the parent's perceived traits or behavior. Lack of autonomy, we mentioned that earlier. So it can make the child to lose its own identity, always trying to fill the parent's shoes. May also lead to separation issues. In some cases, it can hinder a child's ability to separate and individuate from their parents, which is an important developmental milestone. While parents may intend this phrase as a compliment or a way to connect with their children, experts believe and caution against using it excessively or in a way that diminishes the child's, individuality. So let's take number 13. I beg your pardon, number 15. You make me sick. Saying you make me sick to a child is highly detrimental and can have lasting negative effect on their mental well-being. It's important for parents to communicate frustration or disappointment in a way that addresses behavior rather than attacking the child's character. This statement expresses distrust towards the child, which can lead to feeling of worthlessness or rejection. It can lead to fear and anxiety, can lead to relationship strain. This risk can severely damage parent-child relationship, creating a lack of trust and emotional, closeness between the child and the father or the mother. The child might feel alienated from the parent, which can hinder healthy emotional development. And like I said earlier, it may also lead to fear and anxiety. Such harsh words can create a fearful environment for the child, leading to anxiety and stress. They may constantly worry about their action and how they affect their parents, fearing further negative, reactions. It may have long-term psychological impacts. Over time, being told you make me sick can contribute to long-standing psychological issues such as depression, low self-esteem, and difficulties in forming healthy relationships with others. It may also result in behavioral problems. Children who hear such negative statements might exhibit behavioral issues as a coping mechanism or a way to gain attention, which can negatively affect their social interactions and academic performance. Now let's go to number 16. Number 16, I regret having you. Telling a kid I regret having you is such a low blow. It's the kind of thing that can really mess a child up psychologically. Imagine being a little kid looking up to your parent and then hearing those soul crushing words. It's basically telling the child that their existence is a mistake, that They are a source of regret and disappointment. How messed up can that be? Dr. Jessica Williams explains that expressing regret over a child's birth can shatter their sense of self-worth and make them feel like a burden. And she's absolutely correct. Hearing that from your own parent can make you start questioning if you even deserve to live or to exist. If you are just a problem to be presented, it's the kind of thing that can lead to serious self-esteem issues, anxiety, depression, and a whole 9 yards. Kids who get hit with that, I regret to, I regret having you, I regret to give birth to you, often grow up feeling inadequate, unloved, and like they don't belong anywhere. But beyond just the psychological toll, it can also completely rupture the parent-child bond and relationship. How can a kid trust and feel safe with a parent who openly regrets their existence? It breeds resentment, anger, and a desire to distance themselves emotionally. At the end of the day, no child should ever have to hear those kind of soul crushing words from their own parents. It's a sure way to inflict some deep, long lasting emotional scar and self worth issues. Parents need to be careful with their words and provide unconditional love and support, not devastatingly hurtful statements like that to their kids. Number 17, you are a mistake. Well, this is not drastically different from number 16. Labeling a child as a mistake can lead to feelings of shame, low self esteem, and sense of not belonging to anywhere. It is a form of emotional abuse that can have long lasting psychological consequences. Mental health professionals strongly advise against ever using this phrase with children as it can inflict deep emotional wounds and hinder their healthy development. Children who are made to feel like mistakes often struggle with self acceptance and may develop self destructive behavior. This is expert opinion. Number 18, you are a burden. Labeling a child as a burden is a form of emotional abuse that can have several long lasting psychological consequences. It is crucial for parents to make their children feel valued, wanted, and loved unconditionally rather than imposing such damaging labels. Calling a child a burden can create a deep seated belief that they are a problem, which can negatively impact their relationship and self confidence. This is the opinion of Dr. Emily Richard, who is a clinical psychologist. Then let's get to number 19. You are worthless. Telling a child you are worthless is an extremely damaging statement that can have severe psychological implications. This statement directly attacks a child's sense of worth and value as a human being. Telling a child they are worthless is a form of emotional abuse that can have long-lasting effect on their mental health and well-being. Being labeled worthless can lead to low self-esteem, lack of confidence, and even depression in children. It instills a belief that they have no value or purpose, which can be psychologically crippling. Number 20, I hate you. I hate you. Telling a child you hate them is one of the most psychologically damaging things a parent can say to a child. And it has very strong, severe psychological implication. It shatters the child's sense of security. Children need to feel safe around, their parents. This statement can be extremely damaging to a child's sense of security and attachment. Children need to feel unconditionally loved and accepted, by their parents and for healthy development. So hearing I hate you from a parent completely undermines that fundamental need for the child. This could also be very traumatic for the child and can potentially lead to PTSD in the later life of the child. It can lead to self-esteem issues, low self-worth. Being the target of a parent's hatred can deeply diminish a child's self-worth and self-esteem. They may internalize the message that they are unlovable and unworthy of love and acceptance. The expert Dr. Jessica Thompson, a family therapist, has this to say. Expressing hatred towards a child can create deep emotional wounds and trust issues that can persist into adulthood. There you have it, folks. I have delivered on my promise of 20 toxic phrases parents should never use for their children. Parents should create a healthy and safe, secured environment for their children, for their psychological development, for their academic excellence, and so on. So that at the end of the day, we all will be happy how our children, turn out, and we'll be satisfied that we have done our best. Until I come your way again in the next video, stay blessed and see you later.